Hello and welcome back to Soul MCA's channel, where we take the mystery out of the music. I'm here today to talk to you about another practical lesson. So first we talked about our hands, taking care of our hands. We talked about straps, and today I'm going to talk about gear, but specifically about amplifiers. All right, everything I've been talking about so far all goes back to taking care of your hands, because amplifiers can be very heavy. Amplifiers can you can hurt yourself carrying them as well. So me personally, right now I play on a Mark bass 210 cab, and there are two types of bass amplifiers. There are combos, which are the speaker with the amplification controls, your volumes, your tones, your input, all of that stuff is at the top or bottom or back, but all of it is connected. Then hopefully I can sneak some pictures in here somewhere so you can see. Let's put one right here. Okay, so that should have been a combo, and they look different ways, all manners of manufacturers and different brands. Then there is the separation of a cab and an amplifier, where there's just the speaker box, and then there's some type of head with your controls on it separately. And let's try to sneak a picture in here somewhere now. Okay, so that should have been them separate. There are advantages to both. I don't know about yourself, but me personally, I enjoy making only one trip. Okay, if I got to get from my car to the stage, my car to the church, my car to the gig, whatever it is, wherever we're unloading, I want to be able to carry everything at once. So I'll have my bass on my back. That gives me two hands. What can I do with those two hands? Well, I can carry all in one on one. That is definitely possible, but I find that it ends up making me lopsided one way or the other, and I usually like to be balanced. So for me personally, I have a line 6 head that I carry here in this one that's in a traveler's case, and then I have a Mark bass that I carry in my other, and they're about the same weight. The Mark bass's cab is a little lighter, but it helps. It helps keep me balanced, and then I can just take one trip. Sometimes I bring my laptop as well, so I'll just strap it over my shoulder, probably on the side of the Mark bass. Now, times have changed. I used to own a GK, I believe it's Galian Cougar is how it's pronounced, 410 cab that I would lug up and down the stairs. And I'm young, but it was killing my back, and it was a terror on my car because I'd have to open my car all the way, then angle it. Usually always ended up scratching some of my interior. It was annoying. So I traded it in, and it was heavy as lead. So I traded it in for Mark bass. Now, I'm not sponsored by Mark bass, neither am I sponsored by Neotech with the straps I talked about last week. If I have gear and I feel like it's good, I feel like I can help somebody, I'll tell you about it. There are other brands out there. I can only swear by what I have because I have it, and I've had it for a long time. I've had my Mark bass cab for years. Let's just call it years. All right. And I've had my line 6 for even longer than I've had my Mark bass cab, because I had that when I was powering my 410s, which I use 750 watts to power my Mark bass 210s. And you might say, well, that's way too much watts. And it is. And sometimes you can see the speakers, boom, but it's never blown on me. Mark bass has never blown on me. Never blown a tweeter. No issues with it. And I have powered huge rooms with just 210s, not going direct in with a PA system, just out of those 210s. And if you know where to set your amps, you can get a lot more power out of them. So go out there, look at things. I have two setups. I have that 750 that I use for bigger gigs, and then when I need a smaller gig, I have a TC Electronic 550 watt amp that just fits in a little carrier case that I use it, which I love too, because then I carry my little carrier case with headphones. I've got XLRs, I've got 1/4 inches, I've got my Focusrite I keep in there, all in one little clear case, and I keep that in one hand, and then I keep my little Mark bass 210s in the other hand, and I'm good to go. So think about things that are light. You don't have to. But nowadays, you don't have to sacrifice heavy to get good tone. There are some great things that were built back in the day, some great Ampeg stuff. My church has a Trace Elliott 410 cab that I absolutely love, but it's a monster to carry. Even though it has wheels, at times you've got to pick it up. Definitely if you're getting it in and out of a vehicle, it can be hurting. It can hurt on the back, but look into something lighter if you can, because, again, we're talking about practical things. Also, one other tip, and then I'll leave you all because I feel like this is getting long. You always want to buy gear maybe a step ahead of where you are. So maybe you're a beginner today, you're still learning, you don't even know your major scale good yet, but eventually you're going to be able to play a little better. You know, I bought my stuff, I bought my 410, I waited a little bit, but I had a little small practice box that came with my Rogue 5-string that I used, that I still have, that still works to this day, which is crazy. But I eventually said, I'm getting a little better, or I am going to get better, and I intend to play out, and eventually I did. So I bought that Line 6 bass amp I talked about. I bought the Galeon Cougar 410s, not because I was ready for that, but I knew at some point I was going to get better and go out. So I bought a level ahead of me. Then I had to upgrade at some point as I was getting better. So I got, and as I realized from gigging that there were some things that were more helpful to me, because as long as you have a PA system, you can just use your cabinet or your combo as an amplifier for yourself. So it doesn't need to be big and strong and powerful unless you're playing without the assistance of a PA system. So I upgraded, and then I got my Mark bass, which was much lighter. And then I started getting different basses because my tone started to change. I started to get a little better. I started to know a little bit more. So even when you're buying your basses and things, and maybe I'll talk about that in a different lesson, always look to where you're going a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying go buy a boutique bass, or I'm not saying go buy the biggest, largest amplifier you can, but if you're at beginner, don't buy a beginner amp. Buy maybe an intermediate amp, or buy an intermediate cabinet, or buy an intermediate bass, because eventually you're going to go from here, and you don't want every time you level up to have to keep buying new gear. Another very good practical tip, a good nugget for you all. I am Soul MCA. This is the Soul MCA channel. Hope this information was useful to you. And if you all like these types of videos, let me know. I've been getting some good feedback on them, so I'm trying to keep them coming. Remember, the good musicians get the gigs, the cocky ones don't keep them. Like, subscribe, leave a message. I'll see you next time. Take care.